So I'd like to share with you reefers a couple of things that I've just done for my tank, and I know this is nothing new, but wanted to kind of share them with you anyway. I took an old overflow for a sump that has the hole in the bottom, and I simply took a piece of this, I don't know what you call this, imitation sponge, and stuck it in the bottom here to actually filter out debris, as opposed to using the filter media bags. This is just something inexpensive that you can do. I have, this return is coming from, let me move this, from my skimmer right here. And you can see it travels through here and dumps in there. And it will collect any larger detritus that's flowing. Now what I wanted to do is, I've seen this guy who has a rotifer tube, which is kind of a cool idea for vacuuming your aquarium. So I took my secondary return, I have two coming from my overflow, and I literally took a 4 by 18 inch piece of pipe. You can see the slot I cut at the bottom here. Actually, I cut a few of them, as you can see. And this is a 4-inch pipe, and I took an actual filter media bag, just tied it on here, and then got a 4-inch to 3-inch reducing collar and just put it right on top. And just the sheer force holds it on there. And as you can see, the water falls through the tube, and you can see it bubbling up at the top there. As the bag overflows, if it happens to be that I don't change it quick enough, it'll just overflow back into the sump. But I would say probably 90% of all the detritus is caught. You can see in the bottom of the sump here, it's fairly clean right now. I also use this, or this, either one, as I'm vacuuming my aquarium, and I don't have to empty my tank water at all. I just let the natural evaporation take care of that. And I'll show you how that works in the next video. Okay, for this next video, I'd like to show you something I made for vacuuming detritus, as well as things like hair, algae, and cyanobacteria out of your aquarium. And I took a small plastic vacuum tube. I happen to have a couple of these. This one's, I don't know, probably 1.5 inches in diameter. Doesn't matter, whatever you have around. And you'll notice, I'm going to put this on a white background here so you can kind of see it. You'll notice that I drilled 4 holes right here. Okay, so I'm trying to think of a way, well, how do you get all of the cyanobacteria off without trying to net it all? So here's what I did. I went into my kitchen. You can get these at the Home Depot or anywhere. And I got an old brush for barbecue or whatever. I happen to have 4 or 5 of these things, but just go get yourself a nice round, soft, bristled brush at the Home Depot or whatever. And what you're going to do is take a couple of twisties, and you're going to insert the first twisty into here, and you'll notice it probably won't make it out that hole because of the angle. These holes are about 3/4 of an inch apart because this handle is about that big. So what I did is I just pushed the handle up against here, and it kind of forces that through, okay? So then I come down to the front section, and I just repeat that step. Sorry, I'm a little off here. And get this lined up here. Kind of hard working the camera in your hands at the same time. So, push this up, and there. Now that one's through, as you can see. So, pull both of these through most of the way. Then what you want to do is you want to bend it and push it down. And bend this one in half and push it down into the tube. See that? So now you have 2 loops. Then take your brush, insert it into both of these right up to the edge there. And then when you have it there, you can let it sit for a minute. Tighten this one a little bit. tighten that one a little bit. And as you tighten them, they will pull up. I'm trying to make sure that the brush is even with the outside edge here. Once you have the first one tightened on, the second one merely keeps it from wobbling around. Pull it super tight, and you can see it's offset to one side. Take your little, whatever you got to cut wire. And I got a little tube of silicone here because, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a slight air gap here. And on initial try, this was actually sucking water through here as well, so it didn't cause enough of a vacuum. So I'm going to take a tube of silicone okay. So I'm going to take a tube of silicone, if I remember to open it. This is your brain on silicone. Okay, there we go. All right. Taking a tube of silicone, I'm just going to put a dab on each one. I know this is white, it's not clear. I bought the wrong one. Who cares? Not me. And all we want to do is plug those holes. Okay, so the holes are plugged. We're going to let this dry for a little while, and then I'm going to come back and show you how well it works. Okay, part 3 here. You can see the tube is now connected, and it's flowing pretty freely. And if you look down here at the rocks, where the cyano is, you can see that you can use this brush to gently scrape it off, and you can see it flowing up the tube. You can either have this go directly to a drain, but I just have it recirculating through a filter. There, that'll give you an idea. See a nice big piece of that go. So while it's not going to get every single piece, it's probably going to be your best bet instead of trying to find a net or something to try and capture this stuff. So you can see it comes off the rock really easily. This is a very soft brush, so even if you were to hit your corals with it, I don't think it would do any damage. You'll note that the brush is strapped to the outside, not the inside. I changed it. I was having a little vacuum issue, but it didn't seem to make any difference either way, so now we have it going. Let me aim this up a little bit so you can see what's going on here on the rocks. There we go. And I'll take you out into the garage and show you where this is actually cycling to. Again, not every piece is going to come off and get sucked into this thing, but I think it's much better than a net. There's almost nothing floating around in the tank. A little bit, but not much. The great thing is this brush has 2-inch bristles on it, so you can pretty much get everywhere. You can see I'm going across this little coral, and it doesn't seem to hurt it at all. I think the best thing about this is you don't have to keep making 20 gallons of water or whatever your tank is and changing it out. Granted, it's good to get rid of some of the water because of the detritus on the bottom, but I think if you can filter it, well, more power to you, right? So I'm going to let this sit here for a second, and I'm going to show you where everything's flowing to. So I'm going to go out here to the garage.
No.
And there you go, it's going right into that cup there. And inside the cup here, I'm going to share with you this pump. You can still see it's still flowing from the aquarium, so I can set it in here for the time being. If I need to change something, which I do. Bear with me a second here. I'll just move this tube over to here just so it keeps flowing. Just with a little clamp. And I'll show you where this has been going. Now, as you can see in here, I don't know if this is apparent, but I'm going to invert it so you can see because I'm going to clean it out. Look at all the red in here. I don't know how apparent that is on the camera, but that is all that cyanobacteria that we've been vacuuming up. And if you look down in the water is as pristine as ever because this is catching all of it. Anyway, I'll try and do something better later. Hope you all enjoy this.